And a very pleasant good evening to you. Welcome to the UC Davis Bud Light Football Coaches Show. We are live on remote. We are here at the Sigma Nu Fraternity House here on campus. Let's hear it. We've got a big crowd from Sigma Nu who is out here. Excellent.
Who gets to sit in the bench? Like, what's the
the pecking order?
Yeah. Are you guys like the veterans of the crew, or just you got here first?
Did you earn that spot?
That's where the pizza is, Coach, so that's why they're up there.
Okay.
Yeah, but we'll be out here for the next hour. We're going to be talking UC Davis football. We're happy to be here. You know, Coach, we've been at the Farmers Market. We've been on the quad, and now we're in the backyard of a fraternity house. So we're finding some good locations to have this coaches show this year.
Yeah, I've been over here before. I think I came over here and talked to you guys last year maybe a little bit, so probably ran them all off at that time. But, no, it's good over here. I was talking to Rocco. We should have, like, permanent these seats, like, in the stadium. Like, we should have we should have a little fraternity sorority section there where you got your, You guys be fired up about that, huh?
That would work.
It'd be great.
Yeah, no, that's a great idea, and I love the bike rack they've got in the back. That's a nice location, and they're just across the street, Scott, I know from the pavilion, but the rec hall, I mean, they can just go right across the street. They can work out. This would have been great as a student.
Oh, man. So you guys used to be down the street, right? And how long you been here? Anybody?
2014, I was told.
2014?
Yeah.
Scott and I are both old, so
yeah. Yeah, it was all happening. It was all happening down the street. The quad. I bet this is active out here. Everybody's hanging out in this quad. Is that what's going on out there? Yeah.
More or less, yeah. So we're going to get crowd reaction throughout the next hour, and of course, if you want to call in, you can as well at 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140. We're also on Facebook Live. You can see the cameras right in front of you.
I feel like
Scott,
it's always aimed right at me. So
it is.
I brought my designer
You're
glasses
center stage.
Today.
See,
that made me look smart.
You're the best looking one here, so that's why I'm out to the side.
Me too. I'm
I
sitting
want a little
far out
something
right
right here.
Yeah, you got the little goatee going. Nice look. All right, Coach. Let's look back. Obviously, it was a heartbreaking loss on Saturday at North Dakota, 38-36. Your team fought back valiantly, took a lead late with just over 2 minutes to go. Couldn't hold on as they kicked a 46-yard field goal. You had a chance to move the ball deep down the field. Not to relive it for you, but it was really a great college game on Saturday. It didn't go the Aggies' way, but it was a classic game.
You did relive it.
I'm sorry.
This was my time in TE. They like, yeah, I'm kind of going, well, you just said it.
Yeah.
Sometimes I go, yes, and they'd look at me and I go, well, you just said it. I told Scott I was really obviously gut-wrenching, and you hate to lose any game, and it's very emotional, and that's why you do it. But I was really proud of our guys. I just thought our attitude and our mentality was way different than the Montana game. And for whatever reason in the Montana game, we kind of ghosted. And that's my fault. Ultimately, that's my fault. But that's the only time in my short 3 years here. So we kind of got back to being ourselves. Now, we need to shore up our margin of error, both in our coaching and execution. But I thought our guys just never flinched. They were good the whole time. I'm sure a lot of fans are going, oh, my gosh, they're down 14-0. Our guys were not worried about that at all. And I thought our defense kind of settled down and made some adjustments, got some things fixed. And then really we just kind of got going offensively. But we really felt like if we just needed to catch our rhythm. We got off to a little bit of a bad start. We had another formation penalty, which we're trying to get that solved. Dropped a couple of balls. But, shoot, I remember him looking at the scoreboard, and we were almost into the second quarter, and I think we had run 9 plays.
Yeah, they dominated the time of possession in that first half.
Yeah, which, let me tell you, is the most overrated stat in football, but everybody kind of looks at it. So we just kind of felt like once we got rolling, we'd be okay. I knew at some point, I said, we're going to have to break service in here. We're going to have to break service. And we called a fake punt, and Paul Creighton did a good job designing it, and Nick Fehrenbach. Actually, if we'd have done really exactly what we're supposed to do on the outside, he probably would have run for a touchdown. But regardless, he got the first down. And our defense was great because I just said, hey, guys, I'm going fake right here. You got to have my back. And they're like, yeah, let's go. Let's go. So that fired me up, and it was great. We came back. We scored. We got the 2-pointer. And our offense was great because even Coach Plow told him and said, hey, we might have to come back down and do it again. And I think we're poised to do that, and we didn't quite get that done. But you can build off of that. You can take something away from that. And, again, I hate losing and all that. But Scott knows this. it's how we approach it. It's our mentality. We talk about Shredville and what does that really mean, and it's about cutting it loose and getting in the flow and not being afraid to fail and just go out there and operating. And I just felt like we were kind of more back to ourselves that way.
Yeah, and talking about the fake punt, because that was certainly a momentum changer in the game. And we're going to have Nick Fehrenbach on. And first of all, I was wondering if he could run 70 yards to score that touchdown. He was wide open for a while.
He would have scored. He would have scored. Yeah, he'll tell you, he would have scored,
Okay.
but,
But it was 4th and 11 in your own territory. I mean, it wasn't like it was 4th and 2. I mean, that was, I won't say it was a gamble because I know you've thought out in the game plan. You saw the execution to do that, but certainly it was gutsy.
Well, I laugh because we've had a similar fake in the last couple of years, and we waited until the last game of the year we ran against Sac State last year. But the kids always joke, you put in a fake and then you never run it, and after a while they're going, yeah. You start practicing, yeah. And we really felt like Paul did a good job going when they get in this look. The cool thing about our guys is they can think. So just like Scott would check and audible and kill plays and get to other plays, we have the ability to do that too. So Nick knows, hey, if we give him the okay and he sees it, run it. And I had a 100% confidence in the world in that it would work. And we had seen them line up. And we knew it would be there. So, yeah, you don't just call a fake and go, hey, let's see what happens.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still a game of math and geometry, let's face it. So if the math and the geometry matches up, let it roll.
Absolutely. You had a nice double pass in the opening drive of the third quarter that worked spectacularly. And then, of course, at the end of the game, you had the option of whether to go for one or go for two. And I don't think there was an Aggie fan who didn't think you were going to go for two.
Well, we told the offense before we started, hey, guys, we're going for two. And we practice this stuff all the time and working on it, and Coach Plow does a good job coming up with stuff. And so that was the other thing I thought was super cool was we scored. Guys are like, Yahoo, lined back up. North Dakota was running around, ants on a hill, and they had 12, 13 guys, and they called timeout, and we executed it perfectly. Not everything was open, but, Jake just went right through the progression and hit KV in the back of the end zone. But, yeah, that's just kind of how we live. It's how we want our guys to live. We want them to play that way, and you have to coach that way.
Yeah.
So if you don't believe in your guys or you're not going to get out of your comfort zone, how are they going to? If you're just being Mr. Conservative all the time. Of course, I got to be honest with you, like, who wants to play that style? Who wants to watch that style? Not me.
No, not at all, and it certainly was a lot of fun for Aggie fans, and it was quite a game on Saturday. Scott, you weren't able to be on the trip, but I know you were following, watching, and listening at home. Your takeaway from Saturday?
Well, I watched the film the last couple of days. I watched offense and defense, and I know there's the 2-4 record and all that, but I came away excited about this team. I've been saying this week in and week out. I know the message Dan is preaching to the young men. I've spent time with Coach Tim Plow, the offensive coordinator, Tucker, D coordinator. I've been around these guys. I watch them practice. I watch them prepare. Attention to detail. They're physical. There's just no way in my mind that it can't produce results. And so when I watched the game, I saw a great effort. I saw great plans. And so today I grabbed the stats, and I was just like, it seems like such a small margin of error. And this just goes to show you how precise sports are. Or sports is. And so I looked at total yards. So total offense, we've gained 64 more yards. 64. It's almost a dead heat with the opponent. There's only a 21-point differential. That's about 3 points a game. Actually, no, what is that? That's 20. It's like
over 6 games, a little over 3.5.
3-5 a game.
Yep.
And so if you look at the stats, the only stat that's off a little bit, 9 interceptions to their 4, so you got to take care of that. But
the thing I would say about that, though, a little bit, this is, again, I always think that the beauty of any business in football is you have to blend the tangible with the intangible, and that's where I think sometimes people miss. So in that case right there, 3 of those interceptions have come on 4th down.
Yeah.
So you don't want to take the sack.
Right.
Now, we didn't necessarily want to have him run it back almost for a touchdown in the game, but you don't want to take a sack. So Jake knows, hey, I got to cut it loose, right? Yeah. And then 3 of those came on tipped screen passes. Yeah. So really, in my mind, it's really three interceptions.
So then if you look at that category, then that's a great point.
And just the number of passes that you're throwing in a game.
And it's a dead heat. You look at 3rd down and 4th down. We've gone for it 28 times on 4th down. They've gone for it 7.
By far the most of anybody in the country.
Yeah. And maybe I was asking Dan if it's like an epidemic in football right now, and because you're watching the Colts on Monday night, and they have this whole analytics, 2 analytics guys in the booth deciding when to go for it in third and fourth. If you watch football, guys, you'll see a lot of college teams going for it on fourth. A lot of NFL teams. Someone has figured out the percentages on that. But the bottom line is, if you look at this, I see nothing but positives to look at. And also, just to add, my mentor Jim Soker always said, whatever you pay attention to grows. Be careful what you pay attention to. I see possibility. I see the way they prepare. I know what he's preaching: integrity, accountability, physicality, all those great things you want from a football team. And so I'm excited by this team, and they have a great opportunity right now. And that opportunity is when you're 2-4, you come up against yourself. You come up against life. Life looks like that, and you have an opportunity to build something as a person. So I'm excited to see him play this week.
And Scott, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't one of your championship teams get off to a 1-4 start at one point in the season, and you guys rallied around to come back?
I wasn't on that team.
We actually,
it was in
when I was a junior and he was a sophomore,
Yeah.
we started 1-4, and we're in kind
I was
of
a redshirt sophomore that year.
Yeah, we were kind of in danger of snapping the consecutive conference, streak. So I was on that team.
Okay, and you guys rallied and came back. And I know, Coach, right now you're focused on the process. You're at the midway point of the season. You talked about you want to make sure your team is enjoying the moment, is focused in the moment, and you're not necessarily thinking, oh my goodness, at this point we've got to roll off 6 straight at this point.
Yeah, we don't really talk like that. And I talked at the start of the season. I really felt like, hey, we could go to the national championship. We could have went last year. And so I set that bar there, and I showed them that, not because that's what we're supposed to. Then I immediately kind of erased that and said, hey, now that's not – I'm just showing that to give you a little boost of energy and a little bit of confidence of this is our standard, let's meet it in the offseason. But nobody ever – I think nobody in their right mind ever worries about that. I mean, if you want to make a lot of money, don't try to make money. I mean, that seems kind of counterintuitive, but you have to do things right, and you have to seek these other – altruistic types of venues. And so to me, that's where we live. And for us, it's right now it's about Cal Poly. And we need to really, it's Tuesday, we're getting ready for Wednesday. And tomorrow's third downs and red zone. It's a little different for the defense because of the triple option, but we have to focus on that and have a good work day. And then let's move on from there. And they've got school going on and their family going on, and let's move to the next day. I mean, how shocking is it truly? And I told these guys, we're halfway through the season. I mean, we just started. We're halfway through the season. And the next thing you know, we'll be having the banquet, and the season will be over, whenever that ends up being. So let's just maximize today, and let's maximize this opportunity, and then we'll worry about other stuff later.
It's the Bud Light UC Davis Football Coaches Show. We are live from the Sigma Newhouse here on campus at UC Davis. And, again, if you have a question out in the audience, we'll take that from you. If you want to call in online, 339-1140, 1-800-920-1140 as well. Obviously, Cal Poly, it's the battle for the Golden Horseshoe. I don't think it was called that at the time you guys were playing that. But
we didn't have that.
Yeah, there wasn't a Golden Horseshoe at that point.
There wasn't something?
No, there wasn't something.
Was there a bell somewhere? We had like a bell with somebody or something? Nothing?
No.
Sac State? No, was there something?
Well, there used to be a carriage, but somebody has absconded it. It's lost somewhere.
Can I ask him a question?
Absolutely.
So you called it – I was watching their offense today, Cal Poly's.
Yeah.
You called it a triple option. I looked at it and thought either this is the veer, this is wing T, single. We call it single wing? No. Do we call it single wing?
It used to be single wing.
When the bat, they have those guys lined up at an angle on the ends. That reminded me of the old single wing offense. So what is that offense?
Well, that's what's become the spread option. I mean, people just kind of got out of when we played Southwest Texas. All three guys were in the triangle behind the quarterback.
Yeah.
So now they've just moved them out to the edge of the front. And it still is a triple option. Your assessment is somewhat correct in that these guys probably do more true veer things. Now, they have opened up their package and do a more quarterback. They'll run quarterback counter. I think do a little RPO. They will get in the gun and run it. They're not as traditionally under center all the time as they've done in the past. But, yeah, they're a triple option. He's going to ride that fullback, and he doesn't like that, then he's going to keep it. Now, the fullback and the quarterback are the kind of two big cogs for them. But you got to get those guys stopped, and then if you do, then I'm going to kick it out to the B-back rolling around.
And the quarterback, Scott, I watched him. He's got some wiggle.
He can run.
He's got moves like Jagger. You guys know that too? I saw him.
These guys do not know who Jagger is. Do you guys know who Jagger is? Okay, all right, okay, good.
You know Adam Levine moves like Jagger? You know that song? Of course you do. I have a daughter. She listens to that stuff. I'm stuck with pop radio, which is not my favorite thing.
We're in the fraternity house, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. With Cal Poly, what I wanted to ask about the rivalry, obviously it's big.
Oh, yeah.
Does anybody out there like Cal Poly, by the way? We don't really like Cal Poly, do we? No, we don't like Cal Poly. But was it as big a rivalry in your day as it is right now?
Well, first of all, my cousin's father by marriage was the president of Cal Poly, and I used to go down there as a kid and stay in the president's house on campus, go horseback riding and bowling and stuff. As far as the rivalry goes, as far as I know, as I recall, the game in '83 at Cal Poly, I thought Coach Soker told me he had never won there at Cal Poly, and we beat them 24, I think, to 14. You were a first-year assistant, I believe.
I was, yep.
And it was a tough game. I loved playing there because they had the railroad tracks and the palm trees and everything. It was usually on the West Coast to go to the playoffs between us and Cal Poly. They were a powerhouse, and especially for Coach Soker, it was a big deal because he played at San Francisco State.
Right.
John Madden, the great John Madden, played at Cal Poly, and Coach Soker used to tell some story about John Madden. Coach Soker was called the bouncing check because he was light on his feet. He was a running quarterback. John Madden chasing him all over that field. So there was a special thing about that. And then we beat him here. We were losing 3-6 in the fourth quarter and won that game 10-6. So it was always a huge game back then.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but he knows this. That one of the things I think is essential about Davis guys, and it's like, we never got caught up in the logo and the helmet. We really didn't. It was you knew a little bit, but I know me particularly as a junior college guy, that was mildly different, or not mildly, wildly different than junior college. And so I thought that was a real part of the secret to our success is like you need to get yourself ready to go and play the best you can play and then cut it loose and not worry about how good or bad they're supposed to be. And I was always kind of amazed about that when I first came here. And everybody was kind of nameless, faceless, and we sort of approached everything the same. And I think that helped calm me down. I was kind of a high-anxiety guy anyway. When I played, did you pick up on that?
I didn't get that from you. No.
You didn't?
You said floppy blonde hair.
Yeah, I did. I did have the helmet head, a lot of hair. But I really think the approach was great. And we obviously knew Cal Poly was a big game and Sac State was a big game, but there wasn't that much to be made of it. And I always thought that helped our anxiety level a little bit, and it helped us really focus on what's important. And it's fun for the fans and everybody to kind of stomp their feet and do all those kinds of things. But really in football, it's about how you train, number one, and then just your execution when you get there. I mean, all the chest beating and all the bravado, I mean, that looks good, and it's, might be fun for the alums and fans and some of that stuff. But, hey, for the guys on the field, they just got to execute.
Yeah, that's what it comes down to. All right, we'll continue to talk about the game, but first we're going to take the break. We're going to come back. We want to bring up our student-athletes here tonight. We've got Cooper Richardson, Nick Fehrenbach. We're going to get them up here, and we're going to talk some football with them and life on campus, all that good stuff. We are live from the Sigma Nu Fraternity House here, their backyard here at UC Davis. This is the Bud Light UC Davis Football Coaches Show right here, Sports 1140 KHTK.
40 KHTK, we do sports.
He'll shoot it, and he'll score it, and we'll listen in now. I love this moment.
Deep drive into left, way back, turn and watch it fly.
Beans hands off Michelle, the block by Devlin, the run over the left guard, the game's first touchdown with 7 to play in the fourth.
Shoots it, score! How about that in front of the net? As the Sharks lead 1-0.
He's in! Touchdown UC Davis!
Sports 1140 KHTK, we do sports.
When the UC Davis Aggies football team hits the road, they trust one company to move their equipment, Motherlode Van and Storage. Whether moving your family or an entire business, the professional staff at Motherlode takes the stress out of relocation. Around the corner or around the world, Motherlode Van and Storage will make your moving experience a dream. For information, call 1-800-339-3067 or log on to sacramentomover.net. Motherlode Van and Storage, the preferred moving company of UC Davis football.
Are you thinking about buying your first home? Join Jason Maida and American Pacific Mortgage for a home buyer workshop October 9th at the UC Davis Med Center. Become an educated home buyer and learn credit tips, down payment assistance programs, and special incentives for UC Davis alumni and employees. They even provide lunch. For info, visit goagsmortgage.com or call 800-455-0986. Jason Maida, NMLS number 273080, branch license number 1276063, American Pacific Mortgage, NMLS number 1850, equal housing lender licensed by the Department of Business Oversight under the California Mortgage Lending Act.
We've invented a new messaging system using the crisp sounds of Bud Light. Crisp Code, Football Edition. This is how you say, game tonight. Bring Bud Light. fantasy fees are due. That's it for today.
Brewed with no corn syrup. Bud Light, crisp. Enjoy responsibly. Bud Light Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
Do your kids love the Aggies? Sign them up for the Junior Aggie Club. All kids 13 and under can join the club for just $30. Kids Club benefits include access to all UC Davis home games, invitations to special events featuring Gun Rock, a Junior Aggie t-shirt, birthday card, and Junior Aggie passport for additional prizes. Join the fun. Register your kids for the Junior Aggie Club. Call the Aggie Ticket Office at 530-752-2471 or online at ucdavisaggies.com.
This is Sports 1140 KHTK. We do sports.
Welcome back into the Bud Light UC Davis Football Coaches Show. We are live on remote. We are here at the Sigma Nu Fraternity House. Yep, good crowd out here. A lot of the brothers have shown up for our show, which will be on until 8 o'clock tonight. We appreciate them having us. This is an awesome backyard. So we bring in Cooper Richardson, Nick Fehrenbach, and this would be a bad place to live. If I were a student back again, I wouldn't mind living in this place. It's pretty sweet.
Close to campus.
I know. It's a great setup.
Yeah, great location.
It is. All right, let's talk some football. Nick, I got to start with you. The fake punt, that was going to be the high-energy moment of the game without a doubt. And then so many crazy things happened from a two-point conversion, and then obviously they were able to get down the field. Their guy hit a big-time field goal. You got to give him credit for that. And you guys almost had an opportunity to come back. It was an instant classic game. And let's talk about, first of all, the play, because if I heard Coach correctly, was that something that you called from the field?
So we kind of, me and Coach Creighton, our special teams coordinator, kind of talked about it throughout the game. They were kind of, showing us a possible look to run it against. And before we went out there in that play, Coach Hott kind of looked me in the eyes before we went out there and was like, hey, if it's there, run it. And I kind of looked where we were at in the field, and we're on our own 27-yard line.
You were deep in your territory. It wasn't like 4th and 4. It was 4th and 11.
Oh, yeah. So, I kind of saw what we needed to get to and kind of where we were at. I was like, all right, well, we're doing this. So, kind of just trusted their trust in me, really. And we went out there. And it's funny, if you kind of watch it on the film or the TV cut-up, you kind of see me sort of out there, like really looking at the punt return team, kind of scanning it, making sure it's there, and then kind of double check again. I'm like, wow, they're giving us the look.
It was wide open.
And so, made the call, and before I knew it, I was kind of head over heels on my back going through the air, but got the 12 yards that we needed. So that's what
you
mattered.
were trucking downhill, man. And I got to be honest with you, I've seen you guys work on that in practice, so I wasn't shocked for that play, but when it happened, I was shocked, and I was trying to catch up. Who was that running with the football? It took me a couple of seconds to get you, because it was just this big mass running in the middle of the field wide open. I couldn't believe that it worked so perfectly. Right. It was a great call.
Well, I'm sure North Dakota's sitting there. They're like, all right, it's 4th and 10 on their own 27. They got 2 defensive linemen in their shield.
They weren't.
There's no way they're running a fake.
No chance. No chance at all.
I gotta say, I walked off the field after we, went 3 and out, and I turned around at one point. I'm seeing him run down the field.
Yeah. I gotta get my helmet.
And it just brought so much energy back to the sideline, and it was so awesome to watch him run down the field like that. It was awesome.
Yeah. No, the front line executed so perfectly. Our left tackle, left guard, Teager, who's actually my roommate, and Connor Airy on the left side just collapsed it down. And, had Roland running it down, lead blocking, and even Darius on the backside talked to me after. He was like, hey, were you pretty nervous when you called it? He's like, I kind of heard it in your voice a little bit. You're sort of whispering it.
Well, it worked. It was a great call. Unfortunate, weren't able to get the victory. It was a great game, and it was a great game to broadcast. Real privilege to call that game. How are you guys feeling? You're midway through the season, 2-4. You've had a couple of chances. You could possibly be 4-2. Some people might say, well, the San Diego game, you kind of survived down there. So how do you analyze when you go into the second half of the year, and what are you guys really focusing in on now as you look at the next few games? And I know you're obviously focused on Cal Poly first and foremost, but just give us the overall.
We just kind of have to still understand that what we've set out to accomplish this year is still viable, and that, nobody's within our locker room is counting ourselves out as a team. And like you said, we are focusing on going 1-0 this week, and, that's in the front of everybody's mind. But, when you have outside people kind of talking, what the expectations of the season were going. To us, everything's still alive, and that's how we're approaching every single day and approaching this week, because in order for all of that to happen, we still have to win this week. So that's what we're focusing most on.
Yep, Cooper.
And I know Coach Plow talks a lot about the two things in offense we preach is find joy and detach from the results. And after last week, it's easy to look at the game and give the what ifs. And we could, as you said, we could be 4-2, and but you just got to look at the game, look at what you got to learn from the game, and move on. And as Nick said, we'll look to go 1-0 this week.
That's all you can do.
That's all you can do.
As we talk with Cooper Richardson, who's an offensive guard for UC Davis, Nick Fehrenbach, who's on the defensive line. All right, Coop, let's talk about this, because you played for your dad in high school, and a powerhouse at Folsom, one of the best high school programs in the state of California and now in the nation. But your dad's moved over to Sacramento State now as a coach over with the Hornets.
He has.
Yes.
He has.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I know.
Ooh, I agree.
I know. So do you guys still talk, or is what's
we still talk. Obviously, they're having a pretty good season.
They are. They're off to a good start.
They are, and obviously, I'm happy for him. But it's all good until we play them. And hopefully they do good and do well. And I've always said it'd be awesome if it gets down to the Causeway Classic and they're doing well and we're doing well, and it's bringing a lot of energy back to Sacramento.
Be awesome for the area.
And that's what I'm saying. And I've grown up in the area, and we've never had two teams like that who have really been on the hunt for playoffs or a championship, and now you get two teams that are on that, and it could just be super special for the community, and it'd be something that I've been hoping for a while.
Absolutely. What was it like playing for your dad, and what was it like being at Folsom, such a big-time program?
It was awesome. It took a while to get used to. I didn't play at all my junior year. I was behind two tackles, Jonah Williams and Cody Creason.
Yeah, a kid who went to Alabama and now is in the NFL.
Yep, 16th draft pick in the last draft, and then Cody Creason, who's the starting guard out Arizona. And so behind them, it was awesome getting to learn from them. And then senior year, I ended up starting every game, and it was great playing on my dad. I loved every second of it, and obviously, once again, he's now coaching at college, and I couldn't be happy for him.
He's a line coach at heart too.
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
He is, yeah.
Now, your mom, obviously, she's got a lot of miles to run because she was tracking high school with your younger brother and coming out here, and now with your dad over at Sacramento State. How does she keep up with everything?
She tries to take it one at a time. My sister also plays volleyball at Folsom High School. Yeah. So now that it's easier that my brother's now a freshman here at Davis and playing on the team, and so that makes it easier. So she can, we have home games. It kind of lined up where a lot of our home games, my dad has away games, so she can come to our games. And then last weekend, unfortunately, my sister actually had homecoming. So she ended up going to my sister's homecoming and then instead of my dad's game. So
she chose homecoming over football.
She did. She ended up working the homecoming dance. And,
wow. Okay.
Had to support my sister. So.
Well, that's
awesome.
Very understandable.
Yeah, she runs everywhere, man. She has a lot of mileage.
And your younger brother's here.
Yes,
at
he
Davis.
Is. Yeah, it's awesome, man.
Yeah. So you see him a lot, or what's the?
Yeah. So he was actually living in my house for about a month and a half during fall camp. And up here at fall and. It was awesome, being with them every day and living with them again was just a lot of fun.
That's cool.
It was great having them. I see them around campus and helping with classes and stuff like that. So it's awesome, man.
That's good stuff. You have a great family. Nick, I want to talk to you because I had the privilege on one of the road trips. I was sitting in the defensive meetings, and Coach Tucker asked you to speak to the unit that night, and you gave a great talk about how things go so fast and with the hour clock. And even though the clock wasn't set correctly, if you'll recall, you still had the point right about the 12 hours and the 12 games in a season. Can you kind of share that with us here?
Absolutely. So, Coach Tuck came up to me. Defense is doing this new thing this year where before every game in our Friday meetings, a different defensive senior goes up and kind of gets to speak about what's on their mind or what's on their heart that day. And I talked a lot about just going into my senior season, kind of how much time I have left, and football's been something that I've been playing since I was 5 years old. And, now that I'm 22, by the end of the season, I'll be 23. It's been, a crazy, 18 years. And, to say goodbye to something after 18 years. And when I was looking at the season as a whole, you break down each quarter is 15 minutes and there's 4 quarters in a game. So each game in allotted game time is an hour. We have 12 games this season, so it fit perfectly on a clock with the 12 numbers on a clock. And so I kind of showed that image with every one of our opponents' logos taking up a number, and just kind of seeing it all on one piece. I think that really hit home with a lot of guys, especially our seniors, of when you break down how many hours that we put in weekly in the off season, in the summer, being up here, missing time with our families, being out here in the 100-degree heat, and now it came down to 12 hours to begin the season, and here we are with only 6 hours left.
Yeah. I know that the message hit home because it was silent. Everybody was listening to you intently. It was a great presentation, and I'm glad I was able to be there for that. As we talk with Cooper Richardson, Nick Fehrenbach. All right, on the defensive side, Nick, obviously North Dakota first half, they were running the ball really well. You guys got that taken care of in the second half. You held them to under 100 total yards of offense in the second half after it was almost 400 yards in the first half. So what was the difference between the two halves?
Guys just kind of needed to take a second to regroup. When teams all of a sudden are getting 5 yards, 7 yards on first down, it's easy to kind of just get caught in the whirlwind of what's going on. And so I think during that halftime, the D-line got together. All of our lockers were next to each other, and we just kind of were like, hey, we're only down 14 points right now. And I overheard in the other room, Coach Plow was saying that offense has only had 22 plays at half. And so when I heard that, it's like, we just got to get off the field. All we got to it's that simple. It comes down to us winning first down and tackling, because a lot of those plays where they're just moving the ball on us, they definitely schemed us up, had some great plays going into that game, but a lot of the bigger plays where the quarterback runs.
Right. You guys did a much better job of containing him, not allowing him to get outside in the second half.
Exactly, and it was just minimizing those mistakes that we could control and finishing on plays that we normally finish on.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a tremendous defensive effort to finish that game, and offensively it was a crazy finish too. You guys were moving the ball effectively, and obviously Jake was being Jake.
Yep,
and
definitely.
What's it like protecting Jake Mayer?
I love it. It's awesome. He helps me out a lot sometimes because, he's good at getting the ball off pretty quickly.
He is.
So saves me a few times, So I always kind of joke with him on that. But, he's really, the life and soul of the offensive in this sense of he makes all the protection calls and stuff, and he runs the offense, and without him, we wouldn't be able to do anything we're doing on offense, so or any QB on our team, right? So it's a pretty special man.
And you guys are changing plays on the fly, literally.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
You've got to be ready at a second's notice.
Oh yeah, you got to be able to change what you're looking at in a split second and be able to execute it. So it takes some practice, but once you get used to it, it's you get in a rhythm and it's pretty good.
Yep. Now, Coach talked a little bit about trying to get some of the formation penalties taken care of and cleaning things up a little bit. How do you go about doing that as we move through the season here?
I think a lot of it is just lack of detail. A lot of it in practice of just we'll have this figured out during the game and that type of stuff. But actually putting in the focus during practice to figure it out and fix the issues that we have going really would turn into the fixing the problems we have in the games.
Yep. Absolutely. All right, Nick, I'll ask you this. Obviously, Cal Poly loves to run the football. They do more this year. I mean, their freshman quarterback's pretty talented. He can throw the ball himself, and they're a little more versatile. But at the core, you've got to shut down that triple option. Mm-hmm. It's always a unique practice. It's always a unique week. How do you go about the preparation this week and getting ready for the Mustangs?
Our two biggest focuses this week are pad level up front and trust across the board on defense. And, to us, that's how you're going to stop the triple option is you're going to take away the dive with great pad level up front and just plug up all the gaps and trust that the guy next to you is going to do their job. Because the second somebody starts worrying about the pitch when they're not supposed to, or somebody goes down to the dive when they're not supposed to, that's when the quarterback's going to pull it. That's when he's going to throw it. That's when, things start going awry. And, they're going to live off getting a couple yards of play until one of those mistakes happen, and then they'll bust off a 50-yard run, which is how they started the game last year.
Yeah.
And then, once, guys just got dialed in, we're like, hey, whose job was that? Just everyone focus in, lock in, re-engage, refocus, and, we saw that game ended. So we're hoping to
52-10. Yeah. That's how that game ended.
Very fun game.
It was.
Very fun game.
But it opens up like Montana. These guys are going to come in. They're going to want some payback because they were embarrassed on their home field by you guys last year. And beyond that, you got the Golden Horseshoe. It's the big rivalry between you guys and Cal Poly. So how big of a game is it from that perspective? It's big. Obviously, you need a win, but then you've got the rivalry aspect too.
Oh, yeah, no, without doubt. And, for me, this game's a fun game because my high school QB is actually the backup QB at Cal Poly, and the offensive coordinator actually played for my dad. So that's fun in that sense. And, we always talk on offense how, our opponents are nameless and faceless, and it's something we take true to heart. And, Coach Hawk has talked about it, you just pay attention to ourselves, you know what I mean? Focus on ourselves, and everything else will kind of handle it. But, you definitely bring out more juice for this game, man. So,
yeah, you want to keep that horseshoe
you
here.
Definitely do.
At Davis.
I definitely do.
All right, guys. Thanks for the time. Appreciate it. Good luck on Saturday.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, let's hear it for Cooper Richardson, Nick Fehrenbach, two studs on the UC Davis football team. We'll take the break. Director of Athletics Kevin Blue will join me next. We're going to talk to him about the practice fields that are almost done out there. They're looking great by the stadium. We'll get into that and a lot more with Kevin after this right here on Sports 1140 KHTK.
The Kings play here. Sports 1140.
That shortcut. Hammer. Oh, De'Aaron Fox off the bounce with a vicious left-hand wrist.
Sports 1140 KHTK.
Oh, Kings fans like that.
Your home for the Sacramento Kings.
All right! Randy, we've noticed you root for a different NFL team each week.
Guys, Pepsi's They When You Score promotion allows you to snap any NFL-themed bottle to unlock a new NFL team each week. If your team wins, you could instantly redeem rewards like NFLShop.com gift cards. Plus, you're entered for a chance to win weekly grand prizes like Super Bowl 52 tickets.
Pepsi, the official soft drink of the NFL. No purchase necessary. Visit theywhenyouscore.com for rules and details. Void where prohibited. Ends 10/7/17. Must be 18 years of age or older to participate. Subject to official rules.
Here's a real tweet from a real Chick-fil-A guest. Meredith writes,
"Am I the only person who didn't know Chick-fil-A had mac and cheese? Holy game changer."
The secret's out now, Meredith. Is there anything you think the world should know about our mac and cheese?
What I really like about the mac and cheese is the oven-toasted, golden brown, cheesy top layer. It's savory, and it makes you feel really good.
That does sound amazing. Thanks, Meredith. Try the mac and cheese yourself at your local Chick-fil-A. Real Chick-fil-A guests paid for their testimonial.
For world-class expertise made for the very young to the young at heart. For the convenience and the care you need, discover you're healthy with UC Davis Health. With 17 neighborhood clinics, including one right here in Davis on West Covell Boulevard, you'll have primary and specialty care whenever and wherever you need us. During open enrollment, visit health.ucdavis.edu/Aggies and discover your partner in healthcare. This is UC Davis Health, proud partner of UC Davis Aggies football.
Of all the things you spend your paycheck on,
Hey, hon! Check out this t-shirt I bought for the dog.
why pay to use your checking account? With truly free checking from Golden One Credit Union, you don't have to.
It has a hot dog on it.
Because we're not for profit. And our checking has no minimum balance or hidden fees.
Get it, hon? Hot dog!
And now all Californians can join. So open your account today. Golden One Credit Union. We're stronger together. Insured by NCUA.
This is Sports 1140 KHTK. We do sports.
Welcome back into the Bud Light UC Davis Football Coaches Show, live on remote here at the Sigma Nu Fraternity House. Yeah, in their backyard. This is awesome.
All right.
This is really a cool setup. We got the lights out. We've got all sorts of stuff. Most importantly, Woodstock's Pizza. That always helps the occasion, too. So that's some good stuff there. All right, joined by Director of Athletics Kevin Blue. Kevin, thanks for taking the time. We're not that far away, of course, from UC Davis Health Stadium and everything that's going on over there. The practice fields are almost done outside of it as you're getting the Performance Center slowly, gradually getting built over there.
Yeah, the Bermuda grass practice field has been installed, and it is in a grow-in period, so there's a little while before it'll be usable. But it looks nice.
Yep, signs of progress.
We got the scoreboard out there. Pretty soon it'll be in use, and then the gears will switch and the building construction will start, and that'll be early 2020. There's a few final design things that are happening right now, but we're looking forward to that getting going.
It's a process, and it's just great to see each stage as it comes to fruition. Obviously, a great addition that's going to be used by so many people, and obviously a lot of the students out here will get a chance to use that as well. It won't just be all student athletes.
Yeah, no, there's going to be obviously a lot of functionality for our student athletes, but there'll be classes scheduled in there. There's a big auditorium that'll be used when not in use for athletics. There'll be classes scheduled. There'll be meeting rooms. There'll be a bunch of different things that'll be accessible to all of the undergraduate students at the university. So that's a really cool part of the project. It'll be kind of a mixing melting pot area for campus athletics and general undergraduate students.
Yeah, that's going to be really super cool. All right, Kevin, we talked to Coach Hawk a little bit about it last week. The whole story kind of broke out last week with California passing the legislation, Gavin Newsom signing the kind of pay ability for student athletes, and just kind of wanted to get your thoughts. Obviously, the NC2A has come out and really not wanting state legislatures to rule on it and wanting something more uniform. Does it apply here at UC Davis, and how do you look at what's going on right now, being in the state of California, being an athletic director?
Yeah, well, I think there's a lot of misunderstandings among the general public about what the law is. Really, SB 206 is about allowing or precluding the NCAA from prohibiting student athletes from profiting or monetizing their name, image, and likeness. And what we do know is the NCAA has a working group to study this issue, and they will be making a preliminary report to the NCAA Board of Governors at the end of October. So California has gone ahead and made a law that says, look, student athletes have access to monetize their name, image, and likeness. The NCAA obviously makes the rules for NCAA eligibility, et cetera. Right now that's not permissible, but there will be a report issued at the end of October from a working group, and we'll see if that working group is going to recommend a loosening of those NCAA rules. At the end of the day, we're hopeful that there'll be a national framework that is able to accommodate what California and some other governments are wanting, which is a little bit more flexibility for student athletes to monetize their name, image, and likeness. And I think the University of California has a formal position on this issue. My view is that I think that some of the best things about college sports are the traditions, but sometimes that can be a little bit of an anchor on progress, and I'm hopeful that we'll continue to see some modernization of what we're doing without losing the educational roots and basis for athletics at colleges.
Yeah, and it seems like there's some time for this to kind of play itself out. I mean, the rule doesn't take effect till 2023, right? So hopefully good minds can get together and figure this out over the course of the next months.
Yeah, no, and certainly correct. So the NCAA, the change in the NCAA framework will happen before that. But there are things that come up in recruiting, and there are questions raised about,
sure,
because people that are coming to school next year will be here in 2023.
Right. So they're thinking about their long-term future and how it might affect them.
Correct. So, but the reality of the situation is there's so much activity happening, not only in California but other states. There's similar bills are popping up.
Florida, Texas, they don't want to be left behind.
Yeah, and federal legislation may be put forward also. There was, I think, one of the Ohio reps, Anthony Gonzalez, former Ohio State player, has talked about that. So there will be a lot more clarity on this issue in the next several months, and we will be trying to sort it out once there is additional clarity. But again, like I said, I think a forward and modern lean to some of what would be helpful for our student athletes is a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're always pro student athletes. We talked with Director of Athletics Kevin Blue. All right, let's touch on the EVO program a little bit. That's something that you've created, and obviously you've had a lot of help within the athletic department with that. And just especially since we have so many students here, explain that, because to me that's a crowning achievement of what you've done for UC Davis, and I know it's really well thought of and really well appreciated by the student athletes here.
Yeah, what we're trying to do is make sure that when people finish, they're moving into really good job opportunities or grad school opportunities. And I know you guys, the Sigma Nu guys here, you have a network built in of alums that were Sigma Nus that I'm sure are going to hopefully help you all out when you're wanting to get into whatever field that you want to get into. And we've used EVO to try to develop the same type of thing for our student athletes. If you look at some of the national trends in higher education, there's a lot of underemployment. And what that means is there are a lot of people graduating, and then they take a first job or they take a job that they don't necessarily need college and didn't need to spend the time and the money to take that first job. And what we're trying to do is be very intentional to help our student athletes create the opportunities and network with our alumni and become educated about what's out there in the world of work so that they can move into really good first jobs. And sometimes it's a little difficult for student athletes because they're so focused on their sport, which is great. Like we love the fact that people love their sport. We want that.
Yeah.
I played. I loved my sport too. But
he just didn't play, by the way. He played golf at Stanford just to kind of let everybody else out here know Kevin's background.
Made too many bogeys to that's why I'm talking to you here today, Scott, instead of playing wherever they're playing this week. But any case, it is an issue for student athletes, not because our student athletes aren't academically prepared or qualified. The graduation rates and GPAs are excellent. We want to make sure that they are continuing to think about themselves as a whole person and evolving their sort of self-image about what they're going to be when they eventually finish their playing careers, which happens for everybody. So that's what that's all about. And I think UC Davis as a university is increasingly committed to helping all of the students here graduate and have good opportunities ready for them when they're finished, which is an important part of higher education.
Absolutely. Well said there. And Kevin, I'll just leave you with this. You've been in place here for a little over a couple of years now. How are you feeling in terms of where things are at now versus when you first came to UC Davis?
Well, I'm in, I guess, year three and change. I came May of 2016, so I'm into my fourth year. And to tell you the truth, just like Hawk talks about for football, it's just kind of what day's today and how are we going to get better. Mm-hmm. And there's obviously, we're happy with some of the progress we made. We're not happy with some of the other things that we haven't been able to get to yet. But it's just kind of the way that hopefully our organization's built, which is we wake up and tomorrow's Wednesday and we're going to try to make the organization a little bit better tomorrow, and we'll continue to go from there. So that's kind of the focus, but very proud certainly of our student athletes and our coaches for what they've accomplished in the last few years.
And you certainly have hired a lot of coaches in your tenure here.
Yeah, I don't know the number. I haven't counted. I think 8 or 9 perhaps.
Several significant hires.
And, that's something that we work on as a staff, as a senior staff, and, Rocco and Josh are here and a bunch of others who are sport administrators get involved in those. And we're really excited to bring really high-quality people to the organization that not only can coach the sports that they're in charge of, but they believe in the values of our athletic department. And, Evo's a part of that, and Hawk talks about being uncommon. That's a part of that. And intellectual curiosity is a part of it, and quality balance of life. So those are the things that we hire for, and hopefully we get it right more often than not. And I'm really pleased with the people that we have.
Yeah, you've hired a lot of great people, and we had Tracy Ham on from women's soccer. She's an impressive individual in her own right, and that's just one example of many. All right, Kevin, thank you very much for the time. Appreciate that, and thanks for being out here tonight.
All right, thank you.
All right, let's hear it for Director of Athletics, Kevin Blue. We'll take the break. Coach Hawk, Scott Berry, will rejoin me. We'll talk a little Cal Poly when we come back. This is the Bud Light UC Davis Football Coaches Show live on remote from the Sigma Nu Fraternity House here at UC Davis, Sports 1140 KHTK.
Sundays belong to the NFL. Saturdays are for college football. But it all started first on Friday nights under the lights. Join Matt George and Charles T. Hamilton every Friday night for the Friday Night Football Show, presented by Top Rank Heating and Air. Recaps, scores, interviews, players, and coaches from your teams. Northern California's Friday Night Football Show on Sports 1140 KHTK. We do sports.
What do you call a camel with no humps? Humphrey. At your local Geico office, we'll always give you a smile, but we always take car insurance seriously, and we won't waste your time. At your local Geico office, we'll strive to find a price you can afford and get advice from a licensed insurance professional. Call us right now at 923-5050. That's 923-5050, or stop by your local Geico office at 5211 Madison Avenue, just off Highway 80.
We've invented a new messaging system using the crisp sounds of Bud Light. Crisp Code, Football Edition. This is how you say, game tonight. Bring Bud Light. Fantasy fees are due. That's it for today.
Brewed with no corn syrup. Bud Light, crisp. Enjoy responsibly. Bud Light Beer, Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
The UC Davis Aggies are back and ready to defend their conference title. Also back is our proud partner, Schottenkirk Honda of Davis. Formerly known as University Honda, Schottenkirk Honda has been a proud partner of UC Davis Athletics for over 30 years. Even though the name is different, Schottenkirk Honda of Davis still provides top-notch service and a great value. All at our convenient location at 4343 Childs Road in Davis. Schottenkirk Honda of Davis, serving the community since 1964. Go Aggies!
Hello?
Hey, Dad. I got that AC tune-up last month like you said, but the system just stopped working.
Well, that's odd. Call Bonnie. They guarantee their work.
I sort of went with a cheaper offer. Guess I should have called Bonnie, huh?
It's not a real tune-up unless it's a Bonnie tune-up. With 90 minutes of real maintenance and a no-breakdown guarantee, get yours before it gets hot.
BONNEY, Bonnie.com.
Call Bonnie!
License 696-355.
This is Sports 1140 KHTK. We do sports.
Welcome back into the Bud Light UC Davis Football Coaches Show here from Sigma Nu on the UC Davis campus. Our thanks to Spencer, president of the chapter, for lining this thing up. He's an athlete in his own right, Coach. He is from the Truckee area, part of the ski club, has been back to nationals. So we've got some athletes in this fraternity right here.
Nice.
Some good stuff.
Jim Doty. You know JD, coach football there at Truckee? Yeah. He played ball when he was a little younger than us.
And I have to correct myself because from Carmel.
Sorry.
Carmel High School. Yes.
Okay.
So let me get that correct there.
It's thinned out. Guys might have to go study. And where's Henry? Henry had to go study. Where is he? Henry, one of our punters.
Oh, that's right. He's a member of the fraternity.
There's Henry right there.
There we go.
Henry's one of our punters.
There we go.
Yeah.
Future Aggie punter, of course.
And one of the most outstanding spike ball players you've ever seen in your life.
Really? Wow.
He actually made the official spike ball Instagram.
Wow. You have to be doing something pretty good right there to make that.
He was unbelievable. Like, we're a big spike ball team.
No, I know. You guys do that as your kind of
oh, yeah. And our staff loves to play, and we did it during camp. And so
Wait, is that that's the game that was on Shark Tank?
Yeah,
you bounced it off
was
the
Shark Tank.
You play it?
Yes.
No, I saw it Shark Tank.
I bet you're good at it, and it's fun.
Really?
It's fun.
All right.
Yeah, it's really
Plow
cool.
and Shelton kind of fashioned themselves as the spike ball kings on our staff.
You know Plow was a surfer, too, or is a surfer.
Who's that?
Tim Plow.
Is he really?
Grew up in San Diego surfing.
Boy, I didn't know that.
I've surfed.
Shred. That's where you get the word shred.
Hockey, you surf?
Huh?
You surf?
Well, to say that I can surf, and I have surfed. It actually took me 15 years to get up. But have you surfed?
No, do you know where that's where Shredville came from?
From surfing?
From surfing. So do you know the story? So
I do not know the
Plow,
story.
A couple places Plow had been, they had these little acronyms they used, and he came up with one that was EAT, E-A-T, for energy attack something. And he presented to the players, and they all laughed at it. And so he always said shred because, right, surfers, don't surfers say shred?
Yeah.
Shred.
Solid shred.
And so some of the players started talking about shred this, shred that,
too.
and Shredville was born. That's the story he told me. Yeah.
That's a great story.
Yeah.
That's good knowledge right there.
Right?
I knew that Coach Plow was drafted by the Dodgers, who have a big game tomorrow night, but I did not realize. The Dodgers.
Who?
Big game. LA Dodgers.
Who? Who?
I know there's more Giants fans than Dodger fans out here, probably.
Who's a Dodger fan?
Raise
Raise your hand.
Yeah, if you're a Dodger fan, raise it up here.
Giants fan.
Yeah.
There you
go.
go.
All right, more Giants fans. Okay. But Plow was drafted by the Dodgers. He was the only.
He was the first full scholarship athlete at UC Davis. Tim Plow.
Yeah, that's right.
But let's not talk about him. It's not the Tim Plow show. No,
let's not do that. Let's
talk about Tim Plow because he's awesome.
I've got one question out here. It pertains to special teams, and they're questioning on your kickoffs. How do you determine? Because sometimes you have two kickers out there between their work and Matt Blair. Sometimes you're pooch kicking. Sometimes you're kicking back. Is that all part of the analytics? How are you deciding that?
What we try to do a little bit is sometimes I think when you have to break service in the game. So we'll put it out there and see, are they going to give us an opportunity to lay the ball in there? Now, again, Henry's part of the specialist crew, and they're like they're a tight-knit group, so I got to make sure I don't say anything bad because I'll be condemned by the specialist group. But so what we'd like to do is have them be a little bit of a golfer and lay the ball in at times. Now, it was very effective when we played Northern Arizona a couple years ago, and in the game this past weekend, we wanted him to pump it into the hole, and he kicked it right to the guy.
Yeah.
Now I get it, and Henry knows this. I'm an old fullback, okay, so I didn't kick the ball, but the old fullback in me kind of gets a little rankled a little times. I'm like, see that hole? Just knock it in that hole right there, okay? Because you're a kicker, and that's what you do. Don't kick it right to the guy. So then when that goes awry. Obviously, Matt has a really good leg, and we would love for him to just haul off and knock it out the back. Now, for whatever reason, he wasn't doing in that game, so you're thinking, okay, are we better off now directionally kicking, or should we go with the two kickers and knock it in a hole? And I'll be honest with you, we've been a little off balance in our kickoff team this year for a variety of reasons, and we keep working on it because field position matters. In the game of football, essentially, I always kind of condense it down to 12 yards is a point. If you get into the analytics, 12 yards is a point. And it's crazy. Paul does all these if you get 6 more yards of field position in a game, your chances of winning are like 75%.
Wow.
6 more yards, that's it.
Then the other team.
That's amazing.
It's crazy. But so I say it's 12, but it's 10 yards is a point.
Yep.
So the point value for starting at the 20 is 0. Like if they start at the 20, the odds are they're going to get 0 points.
Okay.
So anything behind that becomes negative in your favor. So that's a big deal to us. So when we give them the ball on the 40 or the 35, I'm over there going, we're giving up points.
Right.
We're giving up points. So we continue to work on it, and our guys are great, and they're staying after it. But that's the reason we use 2 kickers. We're kind of going, okay, are these guys going to adjust, not adjust? Can we knock it in there? Do we need to go ahead and onside it? At some point in that game, I told Tuck, I said, we might go ahead and onside because we're not stopping them anyway.
Right.
And this is where, again, I think the coaches get too caught up. Like, if we're not stopping them, does it matter if it's 50 or 80? It doesn't matter. We're not stopping these guys. We need the ball.
Right.
So let's give us an opportunity to get the ball. You know, one of the things I love about it is, like, think about the referee hands the ball to the kicker. This is your ball. And then you decide, since you're a good guy, I'm just going to give you the ball. Yeah. I'm just going to give you the ball. Like, why are we doing that? I give you the ball, and then you just kindly give it to them. I mean, just think about that.
That's
true. If you didn't know anything about football, they'd go, now, wait a minute. You had the ball, then you just gave it to them? Why would you do that?
You would.
So,
and you turn on the light on my phone at the same time.
Now you can't turn it off. So sometimes I'm like, hey, they gave us the ball. How about we try to get the ball back?
Right. What a concept.
But then you have to gauge, is it worth giving up that field position? Yeah. So to some degree, if you think, hey, we're stopping them, go ahead and do it. Doesn't matter. Or if you can't stop them, it doesn't matter.
Right.
Hey, can I ask on an onside kick?
Yeah.
So the rule, I didn't realize this in watching the Monday night game. The rule on the onside now, you can't bring all the players to one side. I guess guys are getting hurt with that. Same in college.
You got to have 4 on a side.
So now it's harder to execute an onside kick, correct?
Yes and no.
Because you can't steamroll guys with like 7 or 8 guys. Right.
Correct.
Okay. Have the percentages
and
gone
that's
down?
Great.
Do you know
it's safe.
The percentages of onside kick?
I don't know what the percentage is successful on. That would be a good one.
There hasn't been a successful onside kick in the NFL this year so far. That much I do know. It was like 0 for 8 at one point at least.
I do know this. I got beat for a chance to go in the playoffs by PLU one year at Willamette, and it was gut-wrenching.
Yeah.
We were up by 20 with 4 minutes to go.
Ooh, miracle game.
Yeah, and they onside kicked twice and got it both times. Perfect.
Wow.
So I went on this mission, and I had a buddy that coached special teams in the NFL, and I watched every onside kick for like 10 years. I mean, I got my PhD in it. Our guys know, and it made me mad last year because we work on it more than anybody in the nation, and we screwed up 2 of them last year. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like most people go out on Friday and go, yeah, whatever. We're like doing all this science and math and angles and practicing it, and then we go out twice and we boot it. I'm like, what are we doing?
Yeah, exactly. You almost got the one at Montana that you tried. That was very close. It was a good kick from Matt.
Well, there's a story behind that, too.
All right, let's hear it.
Wow.
Well, it all comes down to coaching. I get it. But if we'd had our guy in the right spot, it would have been our ball.
Yeah.
And it
might have scored with that ball. That ball popped through a seam.
Yeah. Well, you got to take. You can't.
Oh yeah.
You got to take it right there. But it could have been a little bit of a momentum changer for sure. But.
Yep. All right, Coach, with it being Cal Poly this week and with them running the triple option, is it a different week of practice unlike any week of practice you have all season long?
Yeah, we do some triple in spring ball. We do some triple in fall ball. And then we come back to it, obviously, when we play them now. And it is dramatically different just because of the sets and the way they do things. And they're good at it. They are really good at it. And it's tough. There's a lot of things that go into it that are little nuances, I think, that sometimes are – escapes the normal naked eye. But they're very good at it, and they got some guys, as he said, the quarterback's got some wiggle. He can go. They got some speed. And as San Diego found out, they'll throw it over your head if you're not careful. They'll throw it over your head.
Yeah, they will. Scott, it's going to be fun. We're going to have the broadcast of the game on Saturday. We'll look for that. It's a 4 o'clock kickoff, so keep that in mind. Get on out to UC Davis Health Stadium, 4 o'clock with the kick. We will have all the pregame beginning with the Countdown to Kickoff show at 3:30 on Saturday afternoon. Coach, thank you very much for the time.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you very much for the time. We had a great time out here. Scott, I'll look forward to working with you on Saturday.
See you Saturday.
All right, that's going to do it for the Bud Light UC Davis Football Coaches Show. Thanks for listening on Sports 1140 KHTK.